Hello, everyone. This is Natalie Armstrong-Motin with Marketing Resolution. Thanks very much for joining us today. I have with me a colleague, Elton Simoes. He's a Brazilian-Canadian practitioner with a fantastic background. Hello, Elton. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Natalie.
It's my pleasure, Elton. So I wanted to introduce you to viewers because you have such a unique background. You have a unique position as the chair and president of the board for ADRBC, which is a very prestigious position to have. And I happen to really appreciate in you that you are multinational, multilingual, and multicultural, practicing mediation and arbitration in a very tight niche in the marketplace. And so what I was hoping is that you could describe for me what that practice looks like and what kind of benefit your clients get from you, because not only do you have multiple decades experience, but also the addition of being multicultural, multinational, and multilingual.
Yeah, first, thank you for this. It is very flattering. I might not be all that you're saying, but that would be great. Yeah, I had experiences in many countries. I lived in many countries as we were talking offline. But the main thing is I'm interested in complex disputes that have a multilingual aspect to it, also that have a multicultural aspect to it, and normally multi-party, right? And the reason is it has to do with my business background. I used to run companies and my interest in corporate governance. In corporate governance and in many of those disputes, it's natural. It's nothing more than a multilateral negotiation where really communicating and interesting and understanding without judging other people's perspective is the most important aspect of resolving the conflict. And in corporate governance, specifically in board governance, it's also the process through which you achieve better decisions. And when I married those two interests, I started developing ADR products and that addresses those questions. And that's why I work with Med-Arb, which basically helps clients to resolve conflicts in a very simple way within a certain timeline. By first mediating their conflicts and second arbitrating their conflicts if they don't reach an agreement before.
Yeah. But I think that I understood from previous conversations with you that it's not very often that it's necessary for people to get to the arbitration stage. That for the most part, when they work with you, you're able to help them resolve their issues and their disputes during the mediation phase. And so that your success rates are extraordinarily high in that regard.
Yeah, that's correct. I attribute that reason to the fact that the parties in the dispute normally have a larger interest to take into account. But they have a timeline to which they need a resolution. They agree on that timeline, and they work towards that timeline. Then the odds are in my favor there. The other factor that there is the fact that they, once they get comfortable with the process, they realize that they have two words where they can live in. One word where they have the control over the outcome. A word where they don't have the control of the outcome. But they have an outcome. And the fact that they have an outcome lines up their time and expectations on when they're going to get a deal, or they're going to have a solution for their problem. And that makes completely difference. And the curious fact is that normally they reach an agreement in the last hours of the mediation portion of the Med-Arb. The reason is that it's there and then that they have the clear perception of that difference of having the control over the outcome and not having control over the outcome, and they choose having control over it.
Sure.
Normally.
Yeah, and to me that just makes sense. That's just, I think, part of human nature. We all like to think that we control our own destinies, and when they're sitting in your mediation room, they have that, and they have your help to accomplish that. So I think that that's incredibly powerful. So what is your favorite part about the work that you do?
What I enjoy really is that I help the parties. I feel that my work is useful to them, right? Because I work with people with very different backgrounds, both culturally, socially, or represented and unrepresented, and on just very sophisticated parties. Uh, what I feel is by the end of the process, they achieve what they want, but most and foremost, they can still do business together. That's why I work with board of directors or shareholders agreement disputes. But I feel that the fact that they can go out and um, and learn how to listen to the other party and work out their problems in the future without needing me again is the most positive aspect of it.
So that's really impressive. So you not only help them to resolve the issue at hand or the dispute or the conflict at hand, but you also teach them how to never need your service again, essentially, and maintain their own relationships. That's a really powerful thing that you bring to the table.
Yeah, I think that in the business disputes and corporate disputes, most of the issue in resolving there is if you establish the process you're going to use before the dispute occurs. Then that's key. Then what I do for them is I help them to draft their shareholders agreement. And in that shareholders agreement, I help them to draft the rules for arbitration and the rules for mediation, which tend to be very simple and understandable, not by their legal department, but by the executives that are involved in it. Then once the dispute happens, they already know the rules of the game, and they start feeling comfortable with themselves, right? The issue in corporate life is that you're not taught in business school or in law school, you're not taught to listen. You're taught to speak. Then once you overcome that hurdle, then you end up getting a deal.
I think that's absolutely brilliant and oh so true. And it's not always the spoken word when we speak. When you are made aware of what people mean to say behind the words that they're saying, or the way that their body responds to the words you're saying. And so when you learn to listen, when you learn to hear other people, and again, not just what they're saying, but their responses and their reactions, you become a far more powerful leader, a far more powerful board member, a much better representative for shareholders. Really important skills for people to have.
Yeah, in that regard, I developed a course with my colleague Brenda Hooper, who is an important mediator here in BC, where we marry dispute resolution and corporate governance. And the idea behind that course is just to in-depth. We have simulated board sessions and we take them and we debrief with people what they did. And the result of it is that people become aware of the impact of their words and actions on other people. And most and foremost, they become aware of how those words and reactions are detrimental to their goals in that particular group of people, and how it creates a negative or positive dynamics in the group that helps or don't help or doesn't help them to get what they want.
Yeah. That's what a fantastic training for any person who's a manager, a director, a board member, an entrepreneur, a leader of any type. That I can see would be a really valuable training to take. So I'm going to put your link for LinkedIn in the description bar down below, so that any person who's in a leadership position or role can contact you and talk about your services as mediator, arbitrator. But really, if they've got questions about training, about leadership, those kinds of questions, they can follow that link and find you there as well. And I know that the work you do with ADRBC, the Mediation and Arbitration Organization in British Columbia, is near and dear to your heart. So I'll put that link in the description bar as well. And is there anything else that you would like for viewers to know about you or your practice or your work with ADRBC?
Yeah, I just want to give it a closing thought, but something that's very dear to my heart and in my work at ADRBC. Um, I I'm a believer that, I am already 55, and I'm a believer that we should give something back to the industry. And the something back that we try to give is to help younger practitioners to enter the field and develop themselves so that they don't need to face the same kind of difficulties that you and I face in the future. And I think that that makes the practice grow. And my last words would be a word of encouragement to the young practitioners, and we look forward to seeing and helping them.
What a great place to end an interview. Elton, I love your passion for our industry. Thank you so much for your professionalism and your philanthropy work that you do. And I will encourage anyone who's watching the video, if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe, like, and most importantly, share with someone who could benefit from hearing this information that Mr. Elton Simoes has so generously given us today. And as always, thank you very much. Be good humans.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Bye, Elton.